Today we're going to talk about finding multiples of a number and then finding the least common multiple of a set of numbers. So let's start with, what is a multiple? Well, a multiple is the product that you get when you're multiplying two factors. So when you list multiples, you're finding the product of the same factor. So for example, let's find multiples of 3. Well, to find the multiple, I'm going to multiply. 3 times 1, 3 times 7, 3 times 100. All of those products, the answers, are multiples of 3. So you can list them by saying the multiples of 3 are 3, because that's 3 times 1. 6, because that's the product of 3 times 2. 30, because that's the product of 3 times 10. 300, because that's the product of 3 times 100. 9, because that's the product of 3 times 3. Now, ideally you'd list them in order, going 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. But if I do ask you to list multiples, just give me 3 multiples of 3, then you can choose to multiply 3 times whatever number you'd like. However, when we find least common multiples, we want to list them in ascending order. That means going up, because we're going to be looking at each multiple and we want to find the smallest ones that they have in common. So let's practice real quick finding multiples. Find me the multiples of 7 and 5. Now you're never going to have a complete list because you can always keep multiplying these numbers times something greater. But let's start with multiples of 7. I'm going to do 5 of them for you, just to give you an idea. Well, 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 3 is 21. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35. Oh, I'll keep going until I fill up the page. 7 times 6 is 46. Nope, that's not right, 42. 7 times, what are we on? 7 is 49. 7 times 8 is 56. I've run out of room now. I can put a little ... to show that it keeps going. I could keep multiplying. Fixing my numbers. Handwriting's important. Alright, now let's do some multiples of 5. I'll switch my color just for fun. 5 times 1 is 5. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 3 is 15. 5 times 4 is 20. 5 times 5 is 25. 5 times 6 is 30. 5 times 7 is 35. 5 times 8 is 40. 5 times 9 is 45. Oh, that's not a 5 at all. That looks like an 8. That's wrong. 45. ... Running out of room, but that list could keep going. So those are just finding the multiples of 7 and 5. What we really want to do now is start talking about finding the least common multiple. So when you're asked to find the least common multiple, okay, let's break that down. Let's start with common multiples. Common multiples are multiples that both numbers, or all 3 numbers, or however many numbers you're comparing, that they have in common. So 7 doesn't work. That's not a common multiple because 7 is not a multiple of 5. So if you're just finding multiples, you can find any number that they have in common. Any multiple that they have in common. The least common multiple means the smallest one that they share. So the way I like to do it is I like to make sure that I have all my multiples listed out for a couple steps. And then I'm going to go along the line and say, well, 7, nope, that doesn't work. 14, no. Multiples of 5 only end in 0s and 5s. So this one's not going to work, this one's not going to work, nope, nope. 35, that ends in a 5 or a 0, 5. So I'm going to go check. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35. Both 7 and 30 and 5 have 35 as a common multiple, and it is the smallest multiple that they have in common. So if someone says, find the least common multiple of 7 and 5, your answer is 35. 35 is the least common multiple. You might sometimes see it written as LCM, least common multiple of 7 and 5. Let's try another one. So let's say I have to find the least common multiple between 14, 21, and 7. Now, this is not the same thing as finding the greatest common factor. I know that 21 has a factor of 7, but I'm not looking for numbers that can be multiplied to make these numbers. I'm looking for the product of when I multiply them. So let's start with 7, because that one's the easiest. 7 times 1 is 7. 7 times 2 is 14. Okay, I see 14. 7 times 3 is 21. Okay, I'm seeing common multiples already, but let's make all our lists before we make a decision. 7 times 4 is 28. 7 times 5 is 35. 7 times 6 is 42. I'm going to stop there just because maybe I don't need to keep listing them. So let's go up. I'll just go in ascending order, going from least to greatest. Multiples of 14. 7 is not a multiple of 14. 7 times 2, those are factors of 14, and I'm not looking at factors right now. I'm saying, what is the answer to 14 times 1? That's 14. What is the answer to 14 times 2? 28. What is the answer to 14 times 3? Getting kind of big. 42. What is the answer to 14 times 4? Again, we can keep doing multiplication. Multiplication is also repeated addition, so if you're like, 14 tables? No. What I'm really doing in my head is I'm just saying, what is 28 plus 14? Oh, that's 42. What is 42 plus 14? Well, it's going to be 50. Oh, I'll change my color. That's going to be 56. What is 56 plus 14? That's going to be not 60, it's going to be 70. Okay, I'm going to stop because I'm hoping maybe I'll have all my multiples. I might have to go back and add more. We'll see. Multiples of 21. The answer's 2. 21 times 1. 21 times 2. 21 times 3. Well, I can just add another group of 21 to 42. That's going to be 63. Now I'm going to stop because I really hope that I'm done. And I'm going to check each of my lists. So I'll start at the top. 14. There's no 14 in 21. Even though there's a 14 in the list of multiples for 7, yes, 7 and 14 share a common multiple, but I need the same number to appear in all 3 lists. So 14's out, which means that that 7 will also be out. 28. Is that in? Nope, it's not in the 21 list, so 28's out. Even though, again, 28 is a multiple of 7, it has to be in all 3 lists. 42. 42. 42. Okay, 42 is my least common multiple because it is the smallest number that all 3 of the numbers I listed multiples for have in common. So my answer is that my least common multiple is 42. Or you could just write 42. And that's how we do least common multiples. List your multiples for each of your numbers. Check to see which is the smallest number that appears in all your lists. That's your least common multiple. Last but not least, we will see a lot of word problems that are asking us to find least common multiples. So let's read this one together. At the gym, Hillary swims every 6 days. I'm gonna underline that. That seems important. Runs every 4 days. Okay, that's something different. I'll choose a different color. And cycles every 16 days. If she did all 3 activities today, how many days will she do all 3 activities again? In how many days will she do all 3 activities again on the same day? So let's think about it. Today, she swims, she runs, and she cycles on a bicycle. Man, I bet she's tired. Okay. In how many more days? Well, in another 6 days, she'll swim. Another 6 days after that is 12 days. Another 6 days after that is 18 days. Do you see what we're doing here? We're listing multiples of 6. So 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 6 times 6 is 36. Let's hope that gives us enough. Let's try the running. She runs today. In another 4 days she'll run. Another 4 days after that is 8 days. Another 4 days after that is 12 days. Another 4 days after that is 16 days. Oh look, multiples of 4. 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. 4 times 4 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20. 4 times 6 is 24. 4 times 7 is 28. I hope that's enough. Now the bicycling. Cycling. Every 16 days. Ooh, okay, that's a little bit further apart. So she does it today, and she's going to do it in another 16 days. Another 16 days after that would be 16 times 2, or 16 plus 16, which is going to be 32. Another 16 days after that is going to be 48. Another 16 days after that is going to be 64. And let's hope that's enough. So, going through my list. Do I see 6s? 4, 8. No, 6 isn't between that. Okay, so 6 can't be a common multiple. Do I see 12s in every list? 12, 12. Oh, no, not in the cycling one. Okay, so 12 does not work. Even though it's a common multiple between swimming and running, it's not the least common multiple for all three. So if I'm crossing off this 12 here, the 4 and the 8 are also out. 18. No 18 here. Nope. 24. Yes, 24. Yes, 24. No 24. Nope. Okay. Keep going. 30. No. Well, maybe. Not here. But that's going to be out. 36. It looks like I'm going to have to make my list a little longer. So we're doing multiples of 4. This is 4 times 1, 4 times 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 4 times 8 is 32. 4 times 9 is 36. 4 times 10 is 40. Okay. Well, let me extend this list here. 6 times 7 is 42. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 9 is 54. Okay, let's see. I see one. I've got 48 here. I've got 48 here. I might have 48 if I keep my list of running going. So that was 4 times 10. 4 times 11 is 44. 4 times 12 is 48. There we go. So 48 is my least common multiple. Put it in context, and I would say that Hillary will swim, run, and cycle all on the same day again in 48 days. And that's how we handle word problems with least common multiples.